Hey guys, real quick, I have a Patreon, so definitely stop in and check that out. But for now, enjoy the video you're about to watch.
Well, hey guys, it's me, Julian, and we are going to be actually talking about two books that I read back to back that seemed similar enough to each other that I thought I could just lump them together into one review. They're both dystopian, both have a female lead, and both have themes about like genetic purity and diversity going on in them. So I thought, why not look at them back to back since that's how I read them. I'll be starting with the one that I liked less and then going to the one that I liked more. Neither of them were 5-star reads for me, but I did like one of them more than the other ones, so let's get started. The first one that I will be talking about is the Book of Ivy. If you would like to skip this review and go right to the second one, I will put a timestamp. Future me, time, do the... okay.
The Book of Ivy is all about a girl named Ivy. Surprise, surprise, she lives in a post-apocalyptic land where she is about to be married off to the prince of the ruling class to keep peace, I guess. But secretly, she's there to assassinate her new husband and kick off the revolution. Will she succeed?
So the Book of Ivy. I read the synopsis of this and I was in. I have forever been chasing a story of a girl who gets into an arranged marriage where she's supposed to kill the person that she's being married to, and it doesn't suck. Those are the things that I want from a book like this, and unfortunately I was not impressed with this one. Oh boy. The world building, first and foremost, was pretty shitty. It was very bare bones, it was very done before, we didn't get a ton of detail. It was definitely an afterthought, like, oh, and they just live in this dystopian world, don't think too hard about it. It's fine. I did not like the character of Ivy. She's supposed to have this personality trope of she always speaks her mind, but mostly that's just she says stupid things whenever they pop into her head. I would like her if she spoke her mind if she wasn't also as dumb as a box of rocks. She's supposed to be helping this cause. She's like this spy that they've sent in to marry the leader's son so that she can sabotage them from within. But she is so useless. She does like 2 things over the course of this entire book, and those 2 things that she does, someone else could have done. It didn't need to be her. You definitely get the feeling that her family didn't like Ivy and just wanted to get her out of the way so they could go on with their plan. The male character, her arranged marriage hubby, is just like, he has like the perfect boyfriend qualities. He's just such a sweetie all the time. Even when he loses his temper, he comes back right away and apologizes. It's just very clear that the author is trying super hard to make you love him. Love this guy, love him, love him. Isn't he the best? He was just bland. Bland, bland, blandy bland. I did not enjoy him either. Like, the main character is supposed to be having this constant conflict between her love for her family and her newfound love for this boy. I don't buy any of it. I don't buy that she loves her family. I guess she's fallen in love with this guy, but she's such a wet tissue paper person. Such a shadow of an interesting character that I just didn't buy any of it. And then at the end she's got to do one of those classic I have to break his heart to save him moments, and it was just dumb. She did not have to do that. If you thought I was frustrated with her character before, I was done with her character by then. I will not be reading any more books in this series. One of the most unlikable protagonists I have followed in a long time. If you like her, that's fine, but I did not. And finally, I wish this book had more action, more stuff going on. It would have been great. Would have been great if she was like into this subterfuge and she was getting down to the nitty-gritty, but this book didn't have like any action at all. What I really want to read is a book where a character is forced into an arranged marriage and she's supposed to kill the guy that she's been arranged to marry. She should be well trained and know her mission. She should attempt to kill the guy instead of just fall in love with him, because there's always some arbitrary deadline where she like can't kill him until this point. I want one where she tries to kill him right away. and then maybe something else happens, and then they're both sort of forced to be together in this frenemies relationship where he does not trust her because she tried to murder him, but they have to work together, and then they can fall in love from there. That is a story that I am on board for reading, but instead I keep finding these stories about these girls who don't have a plan, they don't have the training, and they just end up falling in love with him. Okay, welcome to the second story we are going to be talking about, and that is Birthmarked. This one I just picked up randomly at my library because it looked interesting and the synopsis looked kind of intriguing, so let's just talk about it. I liked it better than the Book of Ivy.
Real quick synopsis here. Birthmarked is the story of a girl named Gaia who is in training to be a midwife in a post-apocalyptic land where sometimes the babies of the lower class are sent off to become children of the upper class because the upper class has issues with reproducing. Gaia's parents are stolen away one day and it's left to Gaia to figure out what the hell.
So Birthmarked. I liked the world of Birthmarked a lot more than I liked the Book of Ivy world. It was a lot better explained. It definitely felt a lot more real. It did remind me a little bit too much of the world from Handmaid's Tale, but I didn't mind that all that much. I liked the romance a lot better in this one. It had a very slow burn. When we first met the guy that our lead was going to fall in love with, I didn't even know that was going to be him. And I really like that, because most of the time when you're reading a story like this, you can tell right away that that's going to be the romantic interest. The pacing on this book was really slow and it did kind of drag. I sometimes have that problem with books, especially if the characters are not enough to keep me in. The lead character, while she is good and she feels pretty realistic, doesn't do a lot until near the end. She's kind of just goes with whatever's happening to her, and that's just not as interesting to read for me. Some people like it because it's more realistic, but I prefer a lead character who tries and rebels and gets more done through the whole book. She does finally have her breaking point, but it takes a really long time to get there. Our main character has a horrible facial scar. She was burned with wax as a child. And of course, because she's a YA MC, she is absolutely certain that no one can ever love her because she has this facial scar. And it comes up a lot, and it's just something that I'm sick of. Like, I understand if you have something like that, you are nervous about it and you think maybe no one will find you attractive. These MCs, they keep going and they keep harping on about it, and even when this guy is obviously into her, like, he could be French kissing her and holding her and whispering sweet nothings in her ear and telling her how much he loves her, and she would still be in her head going, can he ever find me attractive because I have this horrible scar on my face? Bitch, yes! I wish that the side characters were deeper. The main character and her romantic interests get the most fleshing out, which is good, but the side characters are all really kind of just there and bland, and their motivations are a little bit because the story said so. So this book has a lot of themes about adoption and a lot of themes about genetic purity, and there are two sects in this world. Obviously the rich people over here and the poor people over here, and the poor people have to surrender some of their babies to the rich people to be adopted by the rich people. They're not killed, they're not experimented on, nothing bad happens to them, they're just adopted by these rich families who can't have their own children because genetic blah 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 what's it. But they never kept track of who the birth parents were. So in this book they now need to know who the birth parents were, but they don't know. The reasons that they give for not keeping track of the birth parents is really dumb, and I don't buy it at all. That is the biggest part of the world building that I had trouble with, is that their excuse for the whole conceit of this story is dumb. And this book did end on a cliffhanger, and it was enticing enough that I might pick up the next book in the series if I can get my hands on it. I didn't love this book, but I enjoyed it enough that I would keep reading. I am interested in this world, and I am interested in Gaia. So there you go, those are my thoughts on Birthmarked and the Book of Ivy. Did you read either of these? Chances are better that you probably read the Book of Ivy, because I hadn't even heard of Birthmarked until I randomly picked it up. Remember, everybody, that I post new videos here Mondays and Fridays. All of the links to my social media are in the doobly-doo, so go check those out. And I will see you all again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye!
What's up, everybody? It is shout out time. Time to shout out to my very first patron, Kim, over on Patreon. Oh yes, somebody had to be first, and it is Kim. She beat you all. And if you want to be cool like Kim, become a patron over on Patreon.